So I'd sort of say that the 1930s influences sort of manifest more in the shape and the form of the set, and then the contemporary has manifested more in the sort of material. So we've got a design that's a bit more, I suppose, sort of synthetic and plastic and digital than Huxley originally talked of, but it's absolutely sort of in the same vein. Our contemporary references are sort of wide and varying, but we particularly found sort of 1990s and the early noughties Brit art really, really useful. And the idea really, as James has said, is to bring them together and create something which has a hint of something other, that's timeless, has a hint of a futuristic period, but without getting, sort of bogged down by naturalistic, futuristic detail, because that's obviously not what's interesting about the novel, the play. But we want to sort of be suggestive of that and allow the audience to then imagine the rest. We've therefore, because it's a play or a design of sort of two halves with the world state and then the reservation, the world state aesthetically has got a much more stylized feel to it, so we don't get bogged down in detail. So that's more stylized, and then in reaction to that, the reservation aesthetically will have a more naturalistic feel to it, and that will sort of not just in the set, but in the lighting and the sound and projection will all sort of feed into those two quite sort of different theatrical forms. The first half, we've, as James was sort of saying, we wanted to create this sort of the sense of the petri dish and the sense of this world being examined. And so we've created something which feels a bit like a sort of enclosed capsule. So at the beginning we've got this front cloth in, and then sort of throughout the first half we've got a series of revelations. So it's cloths coming out, curtains being drawn, and the idea is a bit sort of like peeling back of an onion. And the idea is that by the time we're in the reservation, just before the interval, we've got to the back wall. So the idea is that with this window, we'll have a sequence of revealing and then solidifying again through lighting. So we'll basically, our tour through the London Conditioning and Hatchery Centre will be a sort of sequence of revelations, really. So we'll sort of move the scene on, change location, and then reveal that through lighting. So the whole of those initial scenes will take place sort of very downstage with this sort of wide screen window. And it's really sort of at the beginning also wanting to add to this sense of the audience being the voyeurs and sort of looking into this world. Once we leave the centre, we'll bring out our front cloth and we'll reveal behind there's a sort of peppermint green curtain. And then the lab benches will slide out. And they'll become, we go into the changing rooms, the men and ladies changing rooms. So they'll become the massage beds. And then these towers either side will have some lockers housed within them.
Is it worth perhaps just mentioning that housed within these towers, we imagine some kind of either video monitor or projection surface kind of structure, so that potentially we have about a dozen or so different video sources to complement as well the actual projection that will also hit the various curtains and gauzes. So they would kind of summon up the various kind of screens and intercoms and kind of computer systems and so on of the Ravenny world.
Yeah, so there's 6 of these towers altogether, which will reveal sort of throughout the first half. The key idea with having these multiple screens was very much about wanting to have some sort of visual way to explore the themes of sort of cloning and multiplicity so we could have sort of multiples of 24 very quickly visually. So the next layer to come out is this is our green curtain, and so we'll reveal 2 more of our towers and also our circular pieces. So we've got a a circular floor piece, which is sort of a poured concrete effect. And then relating directly to that is a sort of halo circular sort of lighting fixture piece above it. Both of these will be able to light up. So the floor piece will have a sort of line of thin lights sort of around it, either solid or little dots. And the overhead structure will have some integral lighting within it. And the idea is that we'll be able to light both of these up and we'll create a sort of negative cylindrical space which will be used at sort of various parts. But the first point we use it is when we go into the lift. So the cylindrical space becomes the lift, and then we'll create the sense of movement through our projection, video, sound, etc. When we get to the reservation, we've taken back our final sort of layer, which was the circular two-tone curtain. Before the audience see the reservation, we think we're actually going to bring in the front cloth. And so we'll have a sort of Jurassic Park moment. And then the big thing that we're sort of revealing, because we didn't ever want to totally change the space, because obviously the two dystopias should talk to each other and should feel, you know, in versions of the same thing. So we didn't want to totally change it. We just wanted to reveal another aspect. And so we're revealing this set of amphitheatre style sort of seating at the back. So that kind of does a couple of things. It sort of reflects the audience. It gives us a sense of, we think of Greek amphitheatre seating, a sense of ancient, timeless rituals, a sense of arenas where people gather for different rituals and sort of quite primeval, sort of basic community, which are all the things that the world state is, you know, sort of has done away with. We're sort of thinking about the reservation as being a place where technology isn't seamless as it is in the world state, but there's a sense of this sort of electrical storm, so there's blips and glitches and fuzzes and snow, and the halo itself, we're thinking about it being a sort of very electric blue, sort of quite like the blue of a fly trap, and with the sort of same sort of sense of sparks and hisses.
I mean, we're told that the Savage Reservation is a place that has experienced a terrible war, and so we're imagining it's a kind of post-apocalyptic, war-torn, kind of scorched earth. So if you think about literature like The Road, or a lot of the kind of disaster movie kind of genre, in terms of kind of very decrepit, broken down kind of buildings, and the kind of narrative is almost, if the world as we know it today were to be destroyed, and then human life had to survive without what we know in the world today, how would it continue to do so in those kind of shelled out, burnt down, you know, shells of buildings?
Mm-hmm. Another sort of big difference in the reservation, lighting-wise, is that what's not in the model box, what will be there in reality, is we'll see the lighting rig above the ceiling of above our ceiling. We'll see the lighting rig very clearly, and that will sort of create another ceiling above our ceiling. And that's very much to create this sense of the Petri dish and being examined from above. But what we'll then do in the reservation is we'll then light from above the lighting rig. So suddenly we get this sense of sort of, you know, worlds within worlds, and a sense of it's bigger than we thought it was. There is a sense of something bigger going on outside.
We're told that the reservation is a kind of human zoo. It's almost like a kind of eco-tourism space whereby those that are fortunate to live in the world state are allowed maybe once a year or once every few years to go and look at human life in a much less ideal situation, almost to remind them how very lucky they are. And so it felt important that it's literally caged, and so with this lighting rig above as well as this cage structure here at the back, we can, in ways that we light it at times, create that real sense of entrapment and claustrophobia.